ICE has conducted the largest operation ever, and it took place in the state of Massachusetts. Nearly 1,500 arrested in this month-long operation. We'll play some video about that, get into the numbers, and then we'll talk about who was arrested in this operation. And also, is crime going down under Trump? Let's check it out.
All right, we're back with a Fox News alert. ICE releasing new migrant arrest numbers from an operation in Massachusetts that they say is their largest nationwide operation ever.
Operation Patriot ran during the month of May and resulted in the arrest of more than 1,400 illegal migrants throughout the state of Massachusetts, 790 of which had previous criminal convictions or charges, while another 277 had final orders of removal and deportation orders.
Imagine if they got cooperation from the local police, how much better they could have been. Fox News got to ride along with one of the teams last week. The U.S. Attorney for the District of Massachusetts is set to hold a news conference later today with ICE officials to discuss their results.
I think the important point is the one that you raised, Brian. You had the locals as well as the state police did not help ICE with this operation. So they had
790 with prior criminal history. That is crazy. That's a large amount of people taken off the streets. Massachusetts just got safer. Keep going.
Have to get more guys, and the amount of criminals that they were able to capture on this operation, this is their best operation yet.
So Bill Malugin was embedded with them, and he was sitting here on the curvy couch on the weekend show. Watch this.
Within like 3 or 4 hours, take a look at this graphic right here. These are some of the people they arrested while we were with them. There was a Salvadoran on El Salvador's most wanted list with an Interpol red notice out for aggravated murder, kidnapping, and robbery. You had a convicted child rapist from El Salvador, previously deported, living right next to a playground, I would add. You had another guy arrested for child sexual assault. He was from Colombia. Massachusetts is kind of like the perfect storm of issues because when people get arrested for these heinous crimes out there, they have such low bail. They just release them, and then they don't comply with ICE detainers. So that's what leads to what you're seeing right here.
So that was Bill Malugin yesterday on the ride along, and that's just it.
It makes no sense why these people have low bail and why they're let back out into the streets. This could have been totally prevented. This could have been prevented 100%.
I know the president just rotated his new ICE director out. He wants to see the numbers bigger. To me, I'm fine with the numbers because, number one, he's stopping new people from coming in. They're all running for cover at this point, and we're starting to squeeze it out, starting to squeeze these guys down. I'd rather take your time, do the investigation so you don't make any mistakes.
You got to be surgical, and I agree with that, Brian. And I think another aspect of this is that there's been a lot of the media talking about how the ICE agents are covering their faces. Well, stop
to touch on what he just said, Trump wants the numbers to go up to 3,000 a day. Right now, they're at about 1,500 to 1,600, from my understanding. What I've heard, what I've read, that they're about 1,500 to 1,600 arrests a day, which I think is good. Like he said, you want to make sure you're doing everything properly. You're already stopping people from coming in, so the border is secured almost 100%. So nobody else is coming in. Now you're getting 1,500 a day arrested. So you're slowly chipping away at that number. Could be anywhere from 12 to 20 million illegals in the country under Joe Biden. That's crazy. So 3,000 would be great, but I'm fine with 15 to 16 at the moment until they get some more funding.
Stop sending information and leaking it into activists because these agents didn't sign up.
Look at San Diego. The mayor in San Diego
exactly right.
Came out and said they're terrorists.
And speaking of California, in Los Angeles, there were 36 Chinese and Taiwanese nationals that were at a nightclub. They were arrested. They are not supposed to be in our country. And then also the U.S. Coast Guard, they were able to go in and find the sailboat that was off the coast of California, and on board were 16 illegals from Mexico. They caught them. There was a C-130 Hercules airplane about 54 miles off the coast. They saw the boat. Coast Guard went in and arrested them.
Last thing, you just got to think about it. Okay, we know that Biden was allowing these folks just to come into the country. But now we know that all these criminals that were here, they didn't just find out about these criminals being here when Trump took office. They knew about them, and they just let them sit in all of these communities. You still got the governor governor that's not giving support. You still got the Mayor Wu, that's still not supporting the administration.
And keep in mind, Mayorkas lied to everybody and said the border was fine.
closed.
The same thing was closed. It was locked.
It was
People know nothing.
secure.
Right.
I'm Steve Deuce.
Yeah, complete and total BS. Total BS. We know the border was not secure. It was one of the biggest lies I've ever heard. 12 to 20 million in 4 years. I really hope it's not that 20 million number, but that's what it very well could be. So I want to play another video. I'm going to play the first 3.5, 4 minutes of this. It's Bill Melugin getting to some of the details of these people arrested. Oops, sorry about that. Let me get this volume here.
Are not deterring ICE. That's the message we got from a Fox exclusive yesterday. Federal immigration agents arresting migrants in the greater Boston area, wanted for some of the most heinous crimes. So Fox News getting the ride along. Bill Melugin was there. He reports on it live in Boston. And what did you see, Bill? Hello.
Hey, Bill, good morning to you. Nowhere else in the country is the battle between the locals and feds more heated when it comes to sanctuary policy than right here in Massachusetts. Tom Homan has promised he will surge ICE resources to these sanctuary areas, and that's exactly what he's done here in the greater Boston area. We joined one of more than a dozen ICE teams deployed all across the state yesterday as they arrested a murderer, multiple child rapists, and a fentanyl trafficker, all of whom had been roaming freely on Massachusetts streets.
Want to huddle up for 1 second, please?
It's dawn in Massachusetts, where Fox News was given exclusive access to ICE's elite Boston team.
All of our targets today are extremely violent, so please use extreme caution. Good luck out there and be safe.
ICE quickly moves on its first target and arrests him. He's a Salvadoran illegal alien on El Salvador's most wanted list, with an Interpol red notice out for his arrest for aggravated murder, aggravated kidnapping, and robbery.
Let's just wait right here. This car is going to pick you up, all right?
ICE then arrested this Salvadoran illegal alien, who was previously convicted of child rape. He was deported in 2017 after he went to prison and illegally re-entered the U.S. He was found living right next to this children's playground.
So you guys just snagged a previously deported, convicted child rapist living 100 yards from a child's playground. Is that unusual out here?
Not in Massachusetts. It's not unusual. Due to the open border policies, we are finding that plenty of people
Living near a child's playground.
who have been previously deported and committed heinous crimes and were removed from the country are now back here, just living among us. And now that's our job to go round them up.
Nothing else? No.
We joined ICE as they also arrested this Colombian illegal alien, facing pending charges for sexual assault of a child, as well as this Dominican alien with a drug trafficking conviction, who's now facing local charges for fentanyl distribution. Meanwhile, away from our cameras, another ICE team arrested this Guatemalan illegal alien, who's facing charges in Massachusetts for aggravated child rape, but was released from state custody. They also arrested this Honduran alien, who's facing local charges for rape, and was also released from local custody. Your message for the politicians who continue to fight you guys?
We're not going away. It might take us longer. It might be harder, but we're not going away. We're here. We know what the American people voted for. We understand that we work for the American people, and we're going to be here until we send everyone home.
And Bill, ICE Boston tells us that local anti-ICE activists have been interfering with their operations virtually
Check this out. This is crazy.
every single day. They say yesterday alone in East Boston, they had arrested a criminal alien and put him in handcuffs when a group of activists grabbed onto that alien and tried to pull him into their car to get him away from ICE. Then in a second incident, did a criminal alien and put him in handcuffs when a group of activists grabbed onto that alien and tried to pull him into their car to get him away from ICE. Then in a second incident yesterday, ICE says they were surveilling a murderer's home in their car when a crowd surrounded their vehicle, blew their cover, and they had to pull off the target. Again, a murderer.
Wow.
A murderer. These activists, these anti-ICE people, stopped them from surveilling a murderer because they are so stupid. They don't know what the heck is going on. They just assume ICE, they're just going in, taking innocent children out of their parents' arms and throwing them into a truck and shipping them off. There's a process here. And when they're doing these operations, when they're out there, when they're out in front of a house, when they're in front of a house, when they're doing an operation, they could be watching anybody. They could be watching like a murderer. They could be looking at a suspected terrorist. So when you come and interfere with that, you are making your community less safe because you guys blew the operation. You have no clue what the heck is going on. I don't understand. I don't understand the idiocy behind this way of thinking. And I blame this on people like Tim Walz. Thank goodness he didn't become vice president. This guy would have been a disaster. I blame this on a lot of Democratic politicians who are vilifying ICE. You see, you may or may not have heard that threats against ICE agents are up about 300 to 400%, somewhere in that range, since Trump took office. And these idiots just made their communities less safe. Because imagine if one of those people these activists live next door and they stop it from happening. Why would you stop them from doing an operation when they could be targeting a serial killer or anybody a rapist, a robber, somebody who's charged with aggravated assault? So I recommend people need to just stop interfering with their operations because it's dangerous. It's dangerous for you. It's dangerous for them. And it's also dangerous for the person getting arrested if you're interfering with that. It's already a heated situation going into that because they're going into there. It's easier when you're going inside of a jail and getting these people. But if you're going on their turf, like Tom Homan said, it's a lot more dangerous because you don't know what kind of weapons they hold or who's with them. So it's very dangerous. They're in a very dangerous situation, and you're, like I said, putting yourself in danger as well because you could be caught in the crossfire of something, of a very sticky situation. It makes no sense. And why these Democrat politicians, in Boston and Massachusetts in general, why they are stopping this. The very people you're trying to protect, you're putting in danger. You're putting your own citizens at risk. It's lunacy. But here's Caroline Leavitt talking about the murder rate across the U.S.
Law and order is back in America under President Trump. And on that same note, there are new crime statistics that show crime is plummeting. In fact, Politico summed it up like this. Murder rates are tumbling across the U.S. in 2025. Homicide stats are down at least 20% over last year. And we could be on course for the lowest number on record. With President Trump in charge, the days of criminals being put over victims are over. Law and order is back.
That's insane. 20% in 2025. I wonder why. I bet it has something to do with these ICE operations going after these hardened criminals. So I've noticed that Democratic politicians really don't condemn the violence. They call these ICE agents names, they vilify them, like I said, and they call them just Gestapo, Trump's soldiers, whatever they want to call them. Like they're just terrorizing communities. But they're doing the work for the American people. This is what the American people voted for. 77 million Americans voted for Donald Trump in 2024. And the reason why I know the American people are behind this is because I saw a video of somebody. I played this on a previous video of mine. A lifelong Colorado Democrat said she voted for Trump because of the illegal immigration problem, because she was living next door to gangbangers. And she said after he got inaugurated, everything changed. Everything changed after he came into office because he's taking care of this problem that Joe Biden let in. Joe Biden was trying to open the floodgates, whoever the decision that was. Mayorkas, whoever's using that auto pin, they opened the floodgates. It didn't matter if violent criminals were coming across. They just wanted people here. You want to add congressional seats, new Democrat voters. So in the process, you're going to allow anybody else to come in. Suspected terrorists, people who hate this country, people who want to do us harm. And this is why it's so important to have a secure border. I just don't understand why. I do understand, but I can't wrap my head around why anybody would purposely destroy their country. It makes no sense to me. And that's exactly what was going on. 12 to 20 million people. That is a lot of people in 4 years. We can't handle that. We see how the destruction is caused with all these murders and rapes. We already have enough criminals here who are here illegally, who are United States citizens. We don't need any more on top of that. So this is a very good operation. I want to see what it's going to be like after the first year, after we see all of these numbers put together with ICE arrests and deportations. I'm hoping they get to 1 million. I'm thinking it's going to be anywhere from 600,000 to 800,000, upwards of 1 million. So 600,000 to 1 million the first year. How many convicted criminals are in that? And there are even people who were here before Joe Biden got in office who are in the communities. So this operation is not going to stop. I read in another article that they're going to continue this operation. So this is going to happen in multiple states, specifically these these blue states, Massachusetts, New York, places like California, where you have local authorities not really working with the feds. Greg Abbott, DeSantis, they're working with President Trump on this. And look, the reason why I know, back to my point about the reason why I know the American people want this, because it was one of the top issues going to the election. Top two is inflation / economy and or illegal immigration. But if you read the comments of videos like this of ICE raids or ICE operations, people getting deported, convicted criminals, etc., if you go through the comment section, 99% of them are in support of this. I mean, it's not like there's a ton of backlash. Yes, you have a certain group, these activists, but largely the American people are happy with what they're seeing. The American people are happy with what they're seeing. They feel safer now. They want more of it. They want their country back. Their country is becoming unrecognizable. I see comments all the time how their small town in Wisconsin looks a lot different. They live in, just an example that, a small town in South Carolina or wherever, or you have these big blue cities, they're getting a lot worse. But they're saying things were starting to look like a third world country because you're importing people from all over the world into the United States. Just open the floodgates and let them right in. So yeah, you're going to see a change of the way your town or city looks if you allow it to happen. But yeah, great job, ICE. Going to leave that right there. And I love bringing these updates because it's very important that you know what's going on. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Take care.